Here we go. Here we go. Great morning, business owners and managers, and welcome to another episode of CX. Wait. Welcome to another awesome episode of CX in the Morning, Customer Experience in the Morning. I'm your host, your awesome host, Wes Walters. And on every single CX in the Morning, I bless you with customer service tips, customer experience tricks, and I leave you with gems. And by gems, if you've been tuning in long enough, by gems, you know I mean actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now. You will learn the importance of implementing an awesome customer experience and how that affects your bottom line. Immediately after this broadcast, right after this broadcast, you will be able to take what you've learned, share it with your team, making you, your team, and your business even better. So how was everyone's weekend? Let me know that you're here. Check in. How was your weekend? This is the check-in before the lesson. This is something we used to do at Hustle University, the check-in before the lesson. You just don't jump right into the course. You find out how the students are doing. How was everyone's weekend? What state are you in? Or have they locked? I know my Chi-Town family, the people in Chicago, they have begun a lockdown today, actually Monday. So obviously that's going to be heading south soon. But let me know what state you're in and if they have implemented a lockdown, a suggested lockdown in your state as yet. My weekend was great. I got a lot of rest. Got a contractor around the house doing some work. So yeah, weekend was good. No complaints about the weekend at all. Let me know how your weekend was. But the name of this episode is entitled Your Policy Stinks. Your policy stinks. Oh, where's the camera? Your policy stinks. Yes, I said it. 2 tails in a bucket. Your policy stinks. It stinks. And this comes about because over the weekend, I was with the client, consulting with the client, and I happened to be in the room when the call came in. And, won't he do it, right? So I think God wanted me to witness this, right? So I'm going to give examples because examples allow you to, stories. We all understand stories. There's a reason why great storytellers, whether it's rappers or poets, they grab our attention. So I'm going to tell stories so that you can remember it. I hate just teaching. This is what you need to do. I want you to get it via story. Miss Troya is in the building. Good morning. We're talking about your customer experience. Your policy stinks. And so here is the story. So I want to preface by saying the examples I'm going to give, they go from bad to worse. So each story, it's going to get worse. And you're going to be like, this can't be true. He's making this stuff up. But hey, it's true. It's true. So the first illustration is the client is a company that creates small supermarkets for African-American business owners. So if you are in a small market, say like Macon, Georgia, so they do a lot of business in Macon, Georgia. They do a lot of business in smaller cities. So like Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, Atlanta would be the big city. The smaller markets would be Savannah, Albany, Macon. So they don't do business in Atlanta, even though most of their freelancers are from Atlanta. They do business in the smaller markets. So example would be if they wouldn't do business in Dallas or Houston, but they would do business in Plano, Texas. They would do business in the smaller markets. So they wouldn't do business in Detroit, but they would do business in Lansing. All right. So they set up, this is a company that creates small supermarkets for African-American business owners. And primarily African-American business owners. They're not limited to African-American business owners, but they set up small grocery chains, so it's a alternative to those who don't want to go to the big Publix or Kroger's or Walgreens. they can, not Walgreens or Winn-Dixie, you can go to a small black-owned black-owned grocery store, right? So this company set up small grocery stores, right? Now, the they have, the way the ordering works is that they have, so that we can understand it, they have numbers. So like you go to a fast food restaurant, you pull up, you can say, I want a number 1, and the number 1 is this. You can say, I want a number 2, and I want a number 3. So everybody's still with me, right? So the number 1 is based on the square footage of the store, as well as a specific type of products. Now, the number 1 is based on the square footage, but the number 1 has a lot of items that are like meat based. It comes with the number 1 default shipping comes with X amount of pork, X amount of meat, X amount of etc. Right? So this example was the client called in and said, "Hey, I really am not happy. My delivery came in. I'm not happy with what I got. My customer base are all vegan. They're all vegan. My customer, once in a while, a regular customer or a customer might pop in, but primarily I'm in a vegan neighborhood. I'm in a vegan community. I'm in a vegan plaza. All of the stores in this plaza are vegan based. Everyone who comes here are vegan. The foot traffic is all vegan. So why in the world would you send me chitlins? Why in the world would you send on my order bacon, rib tips, beef? Why?" So the customer was upset, and gladly so, rightfully so. If you agree that the customer who is a vegan, who has her store, a vegan supermarket in a vegan plaza with other vegan supporting stores in that plaza in a vegan neighborhood, you do agree that she should be upset that she received pork products. I want to be sure I'm not over exaggerating. If you agree, just type 1, and that she's just her anger is justified. Yes or no? Just type 1. If you don't agree, just type 2. I know there's a delay. It's like a 90-second delay. So I'm going to keep going. I'm assuming the numbers are going to come in later, right? So, again, her being justified. Now, so I asked my customer who I was consulting and the business owner, I said, "Hey, why didn't you, consult with her? Why wasn't she allowed to be part of the ordering process? Because that way you could have tailored her order specifically for her demographic, and it would have saved a lot of money, because she spent a lot of money. Now she has to liquidate this stuff at a lower price just to get it, just to move it. And being in a vegan neighborhood, that might be very hard to do." I said, "So why didn't you consult with this supermarket owner?" The response was, based on her square footage, our policy is to send her a number 1. That was the response. True story. And that wasn't the response. That's what she told the lady over the phone. The lady was like, "Why was I not involved in the ordering process? Why couldn't you include me? Because I am not going to be able to move these rib tips." The people that come into my store want soy rib tips. Nobody's going to come in and move these. This meat is going to spoil and it's going to rot. I'm going to have to give it to a zoo and give it to the tigers, like King of the Tigers, right? Her response to that client, to that customer who was paying the mortgage, who's paying the lease, her response was, based on your square footage, you get a number 1. Conversation over. It doesn't matter if you have a vegan lifestyle, a vegan store or not. You get a number 1. That's our policy. I wish I was making this stuff up. I really wish I was. I wish I was making this stuff up. That's our policy. All right, so I warned you. I said the stories are going to go from bad to worse. So it gets worse. It gets worse. No, wait. Before I move on, everyone is clear. And is she justified for her anger? I think Ms. Dorsey typed 1. All right, let's keep it moving, right? The second example is another company, right? This is a company that deals with, so that I'm not disclosing the company. This company assembles display cases, right? And furniture on the whole. This company assembles furniture. So the first time the company shipped out the display cases, the display cases arrived damaged, right? Now, to add some more context, the reason they arrived damaged, first of all, the display cases were already assembled. They're already assembled, and they were protected with saran wrap. The protection for these assembled display cases was saran wrap, not bubble wrap. I know what you're thinking. You heard bubble wrap. No, saran wrap that you wrap when you open a salad and you want to eat the rest of the salad tomorrow. You wrap it in plastic wrap. So it was protected by saran wrap. That was the protection on a bouncing truck across the country. So, of course, when the display case arrived, the display case was damaged. All right. Of course, the customer declined and say, send it back. Second case arrived. And won't he do it? The second case arrived damaged as well, because the protection of this display case was saran wrap, not bubble wrap. Saran wrap on a moving truck across the country, from a pickup to trucking loading dock to other smaller truck to the destination. It got damaged. Second time it arrives, it got damaged again. All right, so now the husband, as the alpha male as he is, he's supposed to step in. And at this point, his wife is just freaking out because their store can't open and she's losing money. And she's like, look, please, like, why is this being protected with saran wrap? Of course, the main customer is like, well, I'm sorry. We don't have trucks. We don't own trucks. It's not our fault. It's the truckers. It's the shipper's fault. So they mitigate all responsibility. Classic, right? And they say, well, it's not our fault. Even though we're the one shipping it and we're the one soliciting the carrier, where when it comes to damage, if it goes right, it's us. If it goes wrong, nah, that's not us. Sorry. We don't own any trucks. All right. So as the husband, as he's supposed to protect his wife, he steps in and he says, look, don't ship a third one. Don't ship it 3 times, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. So as rightfully so, the husband is like, no, don't do that, right? So he said, hey, thinking, he's like, why don't you ship it in the box? Don't assemble it. Ship it in the box. I was like, that's a brilliant idea. I'm like, why didn't I think about that, right? So the third shipment came in the box undamaged because it was protected by cardboard. Ta-da! Right? So he got there undamaged, and the husband is a military vet. He's a vet, right? So salute to all the vets. He said, look, we wasted 2 months trying to get this display case here, right? Can you guys, because I have a bad shoulder from being in the military, can you guys just send someone? Now, this is clear. This is in a smaller market, right? So the headquarters was in Miami. The customers the location where it needed to be set up was Fort Lauderdale. It was close. It was one city up. It wasn't far. It was one city up, max an hour. Let's just say an hour drive, right? It wasn't a different city. It wasn't a different city, but the cities were close. So it was an hour commute. The husband with the bad shoulder, who's protecting his wife, he said, hey, look, can you guys just make an exception and come down and set this display case up for me because my shoulder is bad. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, because you guys are going to think I'm making this up. Of course, you paying attention, you would be like, oh my God, we sent once, we sent it twice, it didn't get there. What can we do to make it right? If it means just sending someone down there to make a special trip, 1 hour drive to set it up, we will gladly do that, right? That's what normal people would do, right? That's what I would do. If you live for your customers and to appease your customers, what would you do? That's what I would do. That's not what the customer did. The client did. The client said, it's our policy to only come out to your store to set up everything when everything is there. We don't make special trips. And we have already been out to your store. So you have to set it up on your own. I wish I was making this stuff up. I really wish I was. But let's go farther. Let's go deeper. It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. Again, if you're just tuning in, your policy stinks. It gets worse. So, same company, right? They ordered more furniture than the customer needed, right? More. So the project manager or I don't know, whoever is in charge of ordering ordered more than they needed. They needed one desk, they ordered 7 desks. They needed 2 bookshelves, they ordered 7 bookshelves. So all of this stuff came. It's positive. Let's think positive. It wasn't short. The order wasn't short, but the order was much over, right? So money was wasted on furniture that they did not need, right? So the customer calls the client and says, hey, someone clearly made an error. Someone probably didn't measure correctly, but there is no reason why I needed 7 bookshelves. There was only 1 bookshelf. Why do I have 7 bookshelves, right? And so because we're strapped for space, can you send a carrier to come pick this extra 6 bookshelves up because they're taking up space? Now, again, for me, if I made an error, I would say, hey, we apologize. We're going to send the carrier. Who would you prefer, UPS or FedEx? Give them an option. Which one resonates more with your spirit? UPS, do you like brown or do you like purple and orange? That's what I would do, right? That's not what happened. The customers, the main customer, the vendor says, well, what you can do is just put it in the storage. Because we're not making 2 trips out there. We make 1 trip. So put the extra 6 bookshelves in the storage. Forget about if you have other merchandise in the storage that you had as a business owner that you want to utilize that space for. Forget about that. Put it in the storage. Those extra 7 bookshelves, put it in the storage, and we'll get to you when we get to you. Pretty much sit down and shut up. True story. Because it's our policy to only come out there once. And I told you it gets worse. You're like, it can't get any worse than this. Yes, it gets worse. One more story so that you can get it. was the sister, going back to the first type of business, that this company opens small supermarkets in smaller markets, right? Now, this is a true story. This sister, her mother had passed, and she got a life insurance policy to open her supermarket because she was going to, like, her mother wanted her to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to use this money to represent my mom in my mom's honor to get the supermarket. Fast forward for some fill in the blank. I'm not going to tarnish the company. They could not get the store open. It was a year this lease was signed. A year. A freaking year. Couldn't open. Lady sent in numerous conversations, like, hey, look, I'm at the last straw. I'm at the last straw. I'm about to lose everything. This is my entire life insurance policy of my mother and all of my savings. I'm behind on my mortgage. Can you please make an exception and come out and set up my grocery store just the way it is? Listen, I know all of the shipments are not here. I would just set up the shelves the way they are. Set up the refrigerated, the display cases where the meat goes and the dairy product. Just set it up just like that, and I will deal with stocking and putting the inventory in. So she was making a concession at the last resort. Be like, look, I'm showing you all my cards. I'm about to lose my house. I've lost my mom's life insurance policy. I've been paying rent for a year. Please, would you make a concession just once for me and come out? I will sign what I need to sign to renege anything moving forward after you come out and set up. You don't have to come back out. So again, she was very clear. She was like, I don't want you to come out twice. Just come out now and consider that my one visit, and it's a wrap. I will just lick my wounds and keep it moving. What I would do would be like, all right, we dropped the ball. We'll be out there next week. I know that's what you think the client did, right? Wrong. I told you it got worse. The client's response was, that's not our policy. We don't come out until you have all of your refrigerated cabinets and all of your shelves. We don't come out until you have everything. I wish I was making this stuff up just for content, but I got receipts. And, anyone on here who knows me knows this is solid. So again, I wish I was making this stuff up. So let's bring it full circle here. This client is willing to deal with the repercussions. Let's just say it might cost $5,000 to get a team out there to set it up impromptu, right? They're not willing to do that $5K. They prefer to pay probably $15K in lawyer fees, in the whiplash that's coming from social media and the typhoon of negative reviews that's going to come after. They're choosing to do that instead of just, I don't know if it's an ego thing or like, it's not an ego thing. It's a policy. That's not part of our policy. I don't know. So I think the problem why we're here is because, and I blame the managers. Yes, I blame you. You're the manager. You're the owner. I blame you. You're at the helm of the organization. So let's speak truth. Can we speak truth to power here? I blame you for not allowing your employees to know the difference between policy and law. So let's break this down so it's forever broken, right? And I know you guys are watching this on a mobile device, so it's probably small, so you can't see it. So right here is the definition of policy. A policy is the outlines of what a government is going to do and what it can achieve for a society as a whole. Policy also means what a government does not intend to do. It also involves the principles that are needed for achieving a goal. Policies are only documents, they are not law. But these policies sometimes become law. This is the thesis statement here. Policies are only documents, they're not law. Now let's read what laws are. Laws are a set of standard principles and procedures that must be followed. Law is mainly made for implementing justice in society. These are various types of laws framed for criminal, civil, exactly. So let's just say again, laws must be followed by society. So I think the problem here is that your employees don't know the difference between what are laws for your business and what are policies. Policies can be bent. Policies are rules that you can make concession for. Laws for your business can't be bent. Policies based on the situation can be edited. Example, a policy is employees are encouraged to work on time. It could be a policy. Shouldn't be a policy. A law is you are considered late at 8:01. If you have 3 lates in a month, you'll be terminated. See the difference between a policy and a law for your business? Let me know if that was clear. Another policy is employees get a 10. Let's just say you own a orange store. You sell orange computers, right? Policy is that you get 10% off for purchases for yourself and immediate family. That's the policy. The law is if you are caught making purchases for friends or making purchases for yourself at a discounted 10% and reselling them on eBay or other sites, you will be terminated. That's a law. A law for your business should be not a policy. A law should be if you're caught stealing, you're fired. No policy here. This is the law. Stealing is not tolerated at this business. Let me know if this is making sense to you guys in regards to the difference between because you as business owners that are watching, you are responsible for the disconnect in policies and laws for your business. I talked about having a concession bag where modeling it off of the Ritz has a concession folder where at any day, every day, each Ritz employee has at their disposal $200 to make whatever customer needs to be made right. Each employee per day, of course, you don't have that budget, but I said start with something small, like $20 a day, where each employee has $20. If it's something that's going to appease this customer and keep the customer happy, and it's less than $20, you don't need to ask a manager. Just do it. Start with $5. I don't care. Start with $2 a day, but have one in place. Have a concession bag where if you have 10 employees or 5 employees, $2 a day. So $10 between 5 employees a day. You have $10 to make a customer, to make it right. If the exchange is a pen and the pen stopped working and she doesn't have her receipt and the pen costs $150, give her the pen. It's less than $2. Please give her the pen. Keep the customer happy. The lifetime value of this customer, you're going to make more than $150 for the pen. You're going to make more than $150 for the pen. And as you're creating your business or your firm, you want to be very clear that you only put laws, things that you intend to keep in place in your handbook. Don't put policies. Don't waste time putting policies in there. Put laws. It's going to save you a lot of headache in the future. In regards to nepotism and are you playing favorites? No, this is the law. There is no wiggle room. If you're late, if you're 8:01, if you have 3, you're supposed to be at 8. If at 8:01 you're not working 3 times in a month, you're terminated, whether you're my friend, my buddy, my cousin. No, this is the policy. And there was an accident on 285. No, this is the law. So how do you know when it's time to change or make changes to your policy, or if your policy if your policy stinks? Here is one. When your employees agree that there is something wrong with the policy. In the first example where I asked the lady, I said, do you really not think a concession is here? The brother, you guys shipped it twice. His hand is damaged. He's a military veteran. Conversation's over. He's a vet. Get the stuff out there. Do you not feel that there should be a concession? That employee said, I do believe there should be a concession, but it's not my company. So how do you know if your policy stinks? If your employees agree that they stink, then you should make some changes. Another way, when you can't explain what the policy is, it's like, why do you guys do this? Because I like to know why people do what they do. I'm like, okay, so why is this policy this way? Well, it's just the policy. Like, why is it the policy? I don't know. It's just a policy. It's almost like a lot of things are in place and they've been in place for so long that we just don't even know why they do. Remember that story coming up to Thanksgiving where they would always cut the turkey in 2? And for years, nobody understood why they would always cut the turkey in 2 before baking it. Like, why are they doing that? And then someone asked, like one of the intelligent nieces asked, like, yo, why in the world do we still cut the turkeys in 2? And Big Mama happened to be alive. And Big Mama said, well, because when I was growing up, the ovens couldn't hold an entire turkey. So you had to bake the turkey in 2 halves. So a lot of the policies that people have in place for their businesses fall under that category. Can't explain them. They've just been here since Jesus walks the earth. So that's why they're still in place. Modify these policies immediately. Another way to tell if your policy stinks and needs to be modified is that when it means that you are willing to lose a customer instead of making a concession. If you're willing to lose a customer instead of making a simple concession, here it is. This lady was like, look, I'm about to lose my house. I'm about to lose this business before I even open up. And there's going to be repercussions. I am going to take you to court and you're going to have to come to court in my state. Are you willing to do that? Or just come out and set my store up to where it is? Nope. It's not. It's our policy. That's when you know. Another way to know if your policy stinks and you need to modify. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, there is something as a business owner that you have to master and understand. It's called opportunity cost. Everything that you say yes to, you have to say no to. It forces you to say no to something else. Opportunity cost is everything that you say yes to, you have to say no to something else. So here it is. This company's in Miami. They're going to have to go to court in Seattle across the country to fight something that could have just been handled for $5,000. It's probably going to go into $15,000, north of $15,000. And most importantly, forget the money. We can make more money. Is the time that is taking you away. You're just, as a business owner, you're supposed to have time to think and run the business. You cannot do that if you're in court fighting legal battles. If I told you how many companies here in Atlanta that owe me money, I have unpaid invoices. Let's just say company to change the name to protect the innocent. His name is John. John owes me. Yes, I know you're looking. John owes me an unpaid invoice for $1,100, and is on Facebook posting that he's in Dubai with his wife. John. But taking John to court for $1,100, the opportunity cost that's going to take me and doing research if I want to do it myself, or paying an attorney. John owes me $1,100. I got to pay an attorney $800. Is it worth going to court for $400? Not for me. I'm like, hey, charge that as a loss, write it off of my taxes as a loss. Opportunity cost. Yes, I do feel that he owes me that money. He knows he owes me that money. But I can either do it one way. I can do my own research online. That's going to take me away from revenue producing activities. The time, hours I'm supposed to be allocating to making money, I'm doing legal research. Or I can pay an attorney $800 to retain a fee at 8, 9, 10, 11. So I got $300. I'm going to court for $300 that's left. The opportunity cost for me is not worth it. But this business owner doesn't see that, whether it's ego or, again, policy is like, no, I will fight that. I'm not going to pay the $5,000 to get out there and set up early. I will fight them in Seattle, because you got to go to court in Seattle, because she's filing a case in Seattle. Business owners, I want you guys to see the customer as that pretty girl that you always wanted. You got to appease if you have female business owners on here, the customer is that Denzel. The customer is Denzel. You got to appease them. or Shaba. It depends on how you like them. If you like Shaba, the customer is Shaba. If you like Denzel, the customer is Denzel. Hey, let's keep it real. I got a little bit of Denzel. I got a little bit of Denzel in me and a little bit of Shaba in me. You got to keep the balance, right? They call me Denzel. Not Denzel, but Denzel. No, they call me Denzel. So the customer is your Denzel, right? It all depends on what you want. You got to appease that customer. For the brothers, the customer is that pretty girl that you thought was out of your league that you really want. You appease that customer. Like for me, I got 3 women in my life. I got my wife, I got my mother, and I got my daughter. I got to appease all 3 women. Appease. That's what your customer should be to you. So I'm flabbergasted when I see business owners treating customers like wet food stamps and thinking, 1, the customer is going to stay around, and 2, that they are going to be in business in 5 years. Sorry for starting the week off. So, Janice, you're going to have to watch the replay, Queen. We are literally wrapping up right now. Watch the replay, or you can watch it on Facebook. But, I'm flabbergasted the way I see business owners treating customers who are their livelihood. And they have customer missions. Say, oh, we love our customers. Do you? Do you? But anyway, sorry for starting the week off this way, but I needed to get this off my chest, and I needed you to take these gems, these actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now, not tomorrow, not after. You're not going to get through November and do it in December. When you hit stop, you do it now. If you have a lineup at 9 o'clock, you need to share this with your team at lineup. Say, our policy stinks. How can we modify it? Do this today at lineup. If you have lineup at 9 o'clock, perfect time. I'm glad you watched this on the drive-in. 9 o'clock when you get there, this is part of your lineup. If you have lineup at 12, one of the topics on lineup is how can we modify our policy to make it more customer-centric, because we are here to serve the customer. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you need help modifying your policy or anything else that you found in this broadcast, shoot me a DM. Me and my team, or my team and I, will be glad to help you implement any of these things. And thank you for tuning in. If you are a business owner, or if you know any business owners, you want to share this with them, you want to let them know this is where they want to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern for gems galore. Always loaded with gems, guaranteed to be loaded with gems and actionable takeaways. If you're going to be here, the minimum I'm going to leave you with is some actionable takeaways that you can implement. So share this with any business owner, manager, and you guys have an amazing day, an even better week, and you can have an awesome day if you create it. Peace.